Hello, 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 my lovely people. Welcome to the next episode of the Conscious Female Founder. Today we're doing things a little bit differently. I had a really interesting conversation with a coach of mine recently in regards to coming to the end of the first quarter of 2025 and what we had achieved. So I felt this was really important to share with you all because as we round off the first quarter of the year, which is crazy, time's going by so quickly. I think at the beginning of the year, it's so easy to sit down and set these massive goals and these intentions for the year to come and what we want to achieve. But actually, sometimes we need to take a little time to reflect on the first part of the year and what it is that we have done. Have we shown up for our goals? Have we achieved anything, or are we sticking to what we want to gain? And where we're going into the next quarter, is it time to actually review everything and take a stock check, sit down, have a look at things, and see what we want to go on and make more of a priority going forward. So, as we go into April, I thought this was a really, really great time to share this all with you. So, it's really good to sit down and obviously celebrate our wins for the first quarter, for the first 3 months. So, what I want to do with you guys is encourage you to sit there and take some time to evaluate what has been a win for you for the first few months. What have you managed to achieve? Is it one of those bigger goals that we set at the beginning of the year? Or is it something smaller that actually has really worked out for you? What have you learned? Who have you been showing up as? And who have you been surrounding yourself with? Because there are probably 7 areas of our life that actually, if we break them down into smaller pieces, will really help us to gain focus. So if you are feeling that kind of that ick, oh, you know what, at the beginning of the year I wanted to achieve so much, and we're now at the end of March and it hasn't actually kind of worked out the way I thought it would. Well, now is a great time to take stock, take accountability, and to really work out who you have been showing up as and where that needs to change. So, I'm going to go over 7 areas of your life where it's easy to be able to sit down, break those bigger goals down, and have a look and see what we can put in place and what we can start to implement so that we start getting this compound effect. So that at the end of the next quarter, so at the end of June, you can sit there and say, okay, actually, do you know what? I've been putting these smaller processes in place, these smaller strategies, these smaller goals. But actually, if that is contributing to a bigger goal that I've set over the year, well, now the compound effect has started to take place. And actually, I can see a great deal of improvement and I can see that I am still striving ahead. Now, like I've spoken about to you guys in other videos in the past, when we start looking at goals, we really, really need to understand how we can measure them. Because having a goal and having a dream is two different things. Having a dream is sitting there and saying, you know what, I want to travel the world, or I want to make £1 million, or whatever that might be. I want to drop 10 kilos. But actually, when we take that thought out of our head and we put it on paper and we start to write it down, then it becomes a goal. Then we can sit there and we can think to ourselves, okay, well, this is a goal of mine. How am I going to know when I have achieved it? Is it that the debt is paid off in my bank account? Is it that I've saved X amount of money? Is it that physically I can see a difference in the scale or the way I measure myself? Is it that I have traveled to this country? Is it that I have set up this business? How do you measure that? So going from having the dream to actually working out, actually, this is a goal of mine, to then writing it down and knowing when you have achieved that thing. So let's jump into it. So I said, talk to you about the fact that there are 7 areas of our life. So one of the first areas really is health and fitness. So what is it that you want to do or you want to achieve to make sure that your health and your fitness is going in the right direction, going in a direction that you want it to? Because let's be real, let's be honest, actually, we only have one physical body. Yeah, we only have one vessel that is going to take us through this lifetime. So actually, for me, making sure that vessel is in peak condition is really vitally important to me because your health is actually your wealth. If you're not in a healthy position in your life, then what can you do to start contributing back to yourself so that this vessel can keep going? It can keep showing up for you. It can keep being at its physical peak to be able to carry you through, to then be able to contribute to everything else. Because if your mental health is struggling or your physical health is struggling, then I guarantee you that everything else around it, you're going to find really, really tricky. So, what is the goal or the aim that you can achieve for the next 3 months? What does that look like? So, for instance, for me, drinking water, I think I've spoken about this one before, is something that's really, really important to me. Staying fully hydrated, making sure that I'm getting all the right vitamins and minerals into my body. And I have been measuring that. So, one of the things, one of the goals that I set out at the beginning of the year was to make sure that actually one of the first drinks I had of the day was water. So making sure my bottle is next to my bed so that as soon as I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing that goes into my body. And really tracking it every single day. Right. Am I drinking enough here today? Okay, where did I quite slip down? So for me, a health and fitness goal, definitely this for the next couple of months is to focus on my water. Another one for you might be going to the gym a couple of times a week or taking the yoga class or getting your 10,000 steps in every single day. Well, how are you measuring that? And how can you show up to make a commitment to make sure that you are going to achieve that? So, the next area that I like to focus on is love, relationships, and self love. So, what are you doing for yourself? Are you single? Are you in a relationship? Are you happy on your own, but realizing that actually you need to show up a little bit more for yourself and make a commitment of self love to yourself? What does that look like? Doesn't need to be the big things of making sure that I go and get my hair done every week or I get a massage done every week or a facial or actually self-love can be completely different. It can be the smaller things. It can be sitting down and writing a letter to yourself to say, you know what, well done for the things that you have achieved this week. Well done for the things that you are aiming for. Self-love can also look like just taking a bath, taking time to meditate, taking time to do breath work each morning, which for some people might sound like a really big thing to do, but actually it can be really, really small. I use a method with some of my coaching clients, which works really, really easily. So what you've got to think about it is the 3-4-5 method of breath work. So you breathe in for 3 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and you exhale for 5 seconds. And you do this 5 times over. And that would take a couple of minutes, first thing in the morning and last thing at night, just to regulate my system. To me, that's self love. I'm taking time out for myself, not picking up my phone first thing in the morning. I am pouring back into myself. So, another area to then focus on after that would be personal growth. So, how are you showing up as a human every single day? And what are you doing to grow as a human? Is that taking time to invest in self development? Is that taking on a coach in a particular area of your life that you're wanting to focus on? Wealth, health, business, finance. What does that look like for you? What are you doing to grow physically and mentally as a human being? So, one of the big things for me at the moment is making sure that I take time to read every single day, just a couple of pages. It's one of the things I do last thing at night. I pick up a book that I find inspiring, someone who I love to immerse myself in. So, big author for me at the moment is Mel Robbins. I absolutely adore her. I think she's fantastic. I also love Tony Robbins. I also love Gabby Bernstein. So these are people that generally by my bed with me each night. Gary Vaynerchuk, I love him for the business side of things. So for me, personal growth this month and for the next couple of months looks like making sure that I turn up for myself, maybe a couple of pages in the morning or a couple of pages in the evening, but I do that. I make a commitment to that. How do I measure that? Well, when the book is read, the book is read and the knowledge is in there, that is how I know that I can measure that. So a next area to have a look at would be giving back, charitable service, giving back. What does that look like for you? So sometimes people think of charity as, having to give to a charity every single month. And I never ever believed that charitable giving or giving back should ever feel pressured. It should ever feel forced. Because for me, that feels like really negative energy. So for me, charitable giving can come in a variety of ways. I am a mum. I have a lot of mum friends. So actually, every now and then, what I will do is offer up to them, do you know what? If you want to go out this month with your husband, with your girlfriends, whatever it might look like, give me a shout, let me know, and I will offer you a night off. You can bring your child around here. They can have a sleepover. So you don't need to stress about getting home at whatever time. You can save the money so you're not paying someone else to look after your kids. Bring them here for the night, whenever you want for this month, for one night this month. So charitable giving can look like that. It can also look like, actually, do you know what? I've needed to tidy up my daughter's clothes for so long. And I keep thinking to myself, oh, do you know what? Just get them listed on Vinted. But actually, I don't want to do that. Actually, I would prefer to know that they're going to another home, someone who's got kids that are growing at an incredible rate. So definitely for me, for this month, one of the goals on my list is to go through all her clothes, get them all sorted out, and take them to the charity shop. How do I know it's done? I know it's done when her closet is so much clearer and I know exactly what is inside of it. So next area to look into would be family and friends. How are you going to move the needle this month with family and friends? Does that mean meeting up for a coffee with that person that you haven't been able to do for the last couple of months? Does that mean picking up the phone to your mum or your sister or your aunt who maybe you've kind of been putting it off for a little while? Where are you moving the needle? Where are you pouring the energy into that area of your life? So the next one is a big one for people, which is finance and wealth. How are you showing up in your life every single day for finance and wealth? What does that look like? Is it that actually at the beginning of the year you had a really big goal to save X amount of money, and so far at the end of Q1 it isn't looking that way? Well, how are you showing up in your finance and your wealth every single day and making that commitment so that that bigger goal at the end of the year can be achieved? Is it that you're not going to buy the takeaway coffee every other day? Is it that actually you do want to save some money and you need to sit down and work it out for how much you need to save every single day? I read a book, I think it was by Tony Robbins, not that long ago, that was really, really good. It was a hefty book on finance and wealth. But one of the tips or tricks that I took from it was that actually you can set up a bank account completely separate to your normal bank account. And at the beginning of every month, or when you get paid, or however much that looks like, you move a chunk of money and you put it in another bank account that you don't ever use. You don't ever use it, you don't ever touch it. It's not part of your normal banking system. So it's not like a savings account where, when you log in online and you can see, I've got my current account, I've got my savings account. It's not that. It's a completely separate bank account. And it doesn't have to be huge amounts that you're plugging into it. It could be 20 quid, it could be 50 quid, it could be 100 quid. It depends on what your financial circumstances look like. But taking it and putting it somewhere where you don't look at it every single day or every single week is a really good way of adding in to that financial goal that you've got. So just hiding it away, almost out of sight, out of mind, and making sure that you make that commitment. Set up a standing order, set up a direct debit for payday, the first of each month. But doing that will then start to have this compound effect, so that after 3 months, you can then look at it and be like, oh, okay, I'm doing pretty well here. Kind of almost like forgetting about it slightly. And then again, pour into it the next month after. So finance and wealth, and that is something that I have been doing, and I've really, really noticed it. I've been doing it for a couple of months now, and I've really noticed that actually, because it's not a huge amount of money, I'm not physically missing it. It's not like it's hundreds or thousands or whatever, but I'm putting into it each month, and then I kind of go back and I can celebrate that win and be like, oh, like I've done that, I've saved that, and that's helping and that's contributing to the bigger goals that I've got throughout the year. So the last one is fun and hobbies. What are you going to do to pour into time which you enjoy, whether that is still spending time with friends, whether that is going out to a salsa class, whether that is going for dinner with someone. I don't know. What are you doing to show up in your life and you're making a commitment to yourself that you are still pouring in and having fun and committing to those hobbies? What does that look like for you, and what commitment can you make so that we don't feel like we're relentlessly on this rat race, like we're on like a little mouse on a wheel, hamster on a wheel, so that there is still fun and enjoyment and excitement in our life, something that we can look up to. But how can you make a commitment to do that? And again, how can you measure that? Is it booking the class that you want to go to and making that commitment to stick to it? So at the end of the month, you go, do you know what? I did go out twice this month and I really enjoyed it. Is it taking time out to read the book that you really, really enjoy and making sure that it's penciled into your diary that that is my time and I want to show up for myself and make a commitment to myself so that my life is still fun. So I'm still enjoying my hobbies. So those are 7 areas of life. So to recap, health and fitness, love, relationships and self-love, personal growth, giving back or charitable giving, career and business, finance and friends and family, finance and wealth, and hobbies and fun. So, what are you doing to commit to all those areas of your life? How has the first quarter of this year planned out for you? Was it that you can take away some wins? Because if you can, absolutely, I encourage you to celebrate those wins. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Or who have you been surrounding yourself with in the first quarter of the year? Have they been supporting you in the bigger goals? Are they actually aiding towards those things that you want to achieve? Or actually, is it time to take a step back and realize that the energy you're spending with those people maybe isn't supporting the bigger things that you want to have achieved by the end of the year? Another good one to kind of sit and think about is, what blocks have you come up against for the first quarter? Was it lack of time? Was it lack of planning? What were the blocks that were coming up that meant that you got to the end of this first 3 months, maybe with just a sense of, I didn't quite get there? Take time to reflect on those things. And how can you make it a great month? What can you do to make a commitment so that at the end of April or May or at the end of the quarter, end of June, you can sit there and go, yeah, you know what? I did do those things and I made that commitment so that I am moving in the needle in the right direction. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today, the 7 areas of life, the 7 areas that you can break your goals down into so that you can sit there and say, you know what, in 3 months' time, I have achieved it. The compound effect has started to kick in. Because in reality, guys, the compound effect can go either way. It can, and it's one of those things that can creep up against you or creep up for you, but it's dependent on how you want to use it. It's like thinking about it this way. If I ate a biscuit every single day, at the end of the year, for a whole year, at the end of the year, what effect would that have had on my health? Would it have been a positive one or would it have been a negative one? And then you think about it this way. If I make a commitment to drink my 2 liters of water every single day and do my 10,000 steps every single day for a year, what effect would that have on my body, on my health? Would it have been a positive one or would it have been a negative one? That's the best way to think about it. It's the compound effect. Save 1p a day, spend 1p a day. Which way do you want to make it go? So take accountability of your actions. Decide what you can celebrate from the last 3 months. decide how you want to show up in the next 3 months and what commitment you are going to make to yourself to make sure at the end of 2025, these big goals that you had at the beginning of the year, well, we've either achieved them or we're well on our way to achieving them. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're always welcome to reach out to me on socials or on YouTube to ask any questions. And I am always here to help, guide, and support you guys, because mindset really does change everything. It will change your outer world tenfold. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.